Okay, next we have a presentation concerning the use of Union Square for the 2011 Farmers Market season. We have three people who have asked to speak on that, and by right, they can speak at the end of the meeting. But I would recommend that we consider letting them speak before we make a decision on this matter.
That's a motion, I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion's carried. In order, we have Jason Yates and Mike Robbins. We ask people to limit their remarks to 3 minutes, but we want everyone who has something unique to say and add to the discussion to please do so. We ask for no outbursts like cheering or jeering or booing or anything like that. But we welcome any comments by each of our fellow citizens. Mr. Yates and Mr. Robbins, I don't know if you want to come together or...
Thank you very much. Mayor Wright, Council, Mr. Baird, Mr. Crum. I'm Jason Yates, representing Old Hickory Taproom, Old Hickory Properties, the historic train depot, the parking lot where the farmers market has been since its inception. Now, I prefer it to stay there, but that may not be possible, but possibly there's ways to accomplish that if it's feasible. I totally support the market remaining in downtown, and I support the market, but as you're going to see tonight shortly, and what I would assume is what the Board of Directors of EDA saw earlier today, was in a parking lot, and I think it's going to displace a significant amount of parking for downtown. The market in its current location as it exists now already places a tremendous burden on parking, already overtaxed lots, and sales suffer. We can quantify our sales for the 6 months when the market isn't happening for just those days, that we lose over $32,000 in revenue. And we ask our customers that we see 2 or 3 times a week why we didn't see them on those days, and specifically they say because there wasn't a place to park. So it does already have an impact, but we still support the market. The option is to close the heaviest used lot in downtown for effectively 2 business days, rather than using underutilized areas. We're going to shut down the most utilized one. That doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense, and it will negatively affect business. I've heard that businesses support this, and we talked about that today. But I walked around, and in 15 minutes, I had over a dozen people asked us on a list saying, no, they weren't for it. And there were people like Billy Deeks, probably the most senior merchant on Union Square, people Susan Beard of Blondie's, saying that they never heard of this before. And I said, well, if you haven't, maybe you should call the staff or council members and say, kind of how you feel about this. And I don't know if Mr. Crum received any calls today, but people said they were going to. Also, as a property owner, my tenants are upset about the opportunity or potential for losing a lot. The hairdresser's upstairs, a 15-year tenant. Wednesday and Saturday mornings are their busiest times. And as such, they would seriously consider moving if that were to happen. But I do feel confident that together we can work to find a solution that's amenable to all for the purposes so we can all prosper. But I think the first and foremost consideration is to be in protecting the existing businesses' ability to maintain themselves as going concerns. The businesses that are here and open 6 or 7 days a week, rain or shine. Eliminating the parking lot really is not a viable option. Don't take away our ability to pay property taxes, employ people, expand business, and shape the future of downtown to be a positive business horizon. I'm willing to help in any possible way and understand that timing is critical, but please do not react so quickly at the expense of and detriment to the existing businesses. Mr. Robbins is here to speak. He's also an architect, and he may have some ideas or solutions or ways to think about different things too.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. Baird, my good friend John. I'd like to just talk a little bit about how this is progressing. I guess I'm more concerned with that than anything else. I just found out about it this afternoon. I met with Ms. Fox. I appreciate her efforts. I share the same desire to keep the farmers market in downtown Hickory. She has done a lot of work in that regard, and I really commend her for that. The current location, my understanding is that one of the reasons, maybe one of the main reasons that the farmers market wanted to relocate was the fear that they were going to lose some space in that parking lot with the reopening of the depot restaurant. I'm the architect of that project with Mr. Yates and his partner. And unless there's something that I don't understand, I'm not seeing where any parking spaces are going to be lost. We would need to shift the handicap parking slightly. I was out there this afternoon measuring, and no spaces would be lost in the shifting of those parking spaces. What I would propose would be that we align the van aisle between the two handicap spaces, which is always left open, be shifted in front of their new entrance from the parking lot. It's an 8-foot wide aisle. We're going to have an 8-foot wide entranceway there, 7-foot wide actually. Nothing, it would be changed slightly by a few feet, but the same number of parking spaces would remain. I know that Sally mentioned to me this afternoon that there's a desire to grow the farmers market, and I'm sure we're all in favor of that. And she also explained to me that the city staff had developed a couple of schemes, one being on the square, but not allowing any vehicles on the plaza. When I was a brick mason back in the 70s, I helped to build that plaza, and my understanding is that that whole area has a reinforced concrete slab under those bricks that is designed for fire truck traffic. There are a lot of vehicles that have to get up on that plaza to do maintenance and deliveries and that sort of thing, as well as emergency vehicles. So I believe that if the staff would take another look at that, maybe that there are some opportunities that have escaped them. I also understand that Plan B from the staff is to put it in the, we call it the hole, the city parking lot across from City Hall. I don't think anybody's in favor of that. We want the farmers market to be as visible and located as near the center of town as we can possibly get it. I guess what I'm asking is that if we could just step back maybe and not make a decision tonight, if the farmers market could exist for another year in its current location with the understanding that they wouldn't be losing any parking spaces, and then to explore some other options. And I would be happy to participate in that as well.
3 minutes expired.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Meg Long.
Mayor Wright, members of council, Mr. Berry, Mr. Crane, it's been a long time. I'm really glad to be back here and speaking on behalf of many merchants and on behalf of myself. I've been a long-time advocate of downtown and a member of the Hickory Downtown Development Association for years, and I'm almost a 6-year retailer located directly on Union Square. And I've spoken with a great many of the people, including Mr. Yates and Mr. Robbins. And I don't know that we differ so much, only that we want it on Union Square. Hickory Downtown Development Association was very clear on this point. We're adamant about this. We've worked with the Farmers Market Board, we've worked with one another, we've collaborated. So perhaps we would ask you tonight, and I had some harsh words that I thought about saying about anyone speaking sort of that had been on the board and had been in a meeting and had voted differently and lost the vote and then came before you tonight to say anything, but I think that Staff Sergeant Alton's presentation humbled me and wanted me to instead go before you and say, we can work this out. We are as good and better than this. Ms. Patton, and again, Councilmember Fox, I'd like to thank y'all for y'all's efforts. There's no doubt in my mind that this can happen and it can work, but we want it on Union Square. There were 3 separate surveys conducted by Hickory Downtown Development Association, and all 3 of those by the merchants and members that are there, which is your recognized group. You recognize that group to say what we want. All 3 of those, by almost a 2/3 majority, said we want it on Union Square. Not in the vicinity of downtown, but on the square. I believe beyond a shadow of doubt that we have staff and we have groups that can collaborate and go through and figure out how to do this. So I ask y'all to vote yes to the proposal tonight. Vote yes. Say yes, we can do this. And then charge all three of these groups to get together and figure out how to make the farmers market be the most visionary group in this downtown. Make us memorable. Make us have the hustle and bustle of people shopping. We need the people. We need the people. Not just a place for cars. We need the people in downtown. There's a way to do this. I ask you to charge the staff, the Farmers Market Board, and the HDDA to collaborate to find the highest use for the market on Union Square with the least amount of impact. I know we can do this. Thank you.
Mr. Bell?
City Council, I don't have I'm Raphael, I'm a building owner of Union Square, on a building on Union Square, and I don't have any planned words because I just found out about this a couple hours ago. So I just wanted to represent my tenants who said that they were not in favor of taking parking away from the Union Square parking lot. They feel like that parking is at a premium, and that one tenant is an attorney. She said 85% of her clients are elderly, and she doesn't feel like that they'll be willing to walk any distance. I spoke with Ms. Patton earlier this evening. She said we're going to gain parking, but it's going to be on the opposite side of the railroad tracks. And I don't know if that's really gaining parking at the square. I'm surprised at the fact that we're going about this and we haven't advertised to the building owners of the square. The last thing that I read in the newspaper was that it was going across the street from Town Hall, and that's just what I assumed. Now, I don't know if that's the right plan, but I think that the people that own the properties on the square and pay the taxes on the square should be notified and be part of the decision-making process. And as a property owner, I wasn't. So I just want you to know that I'm one of many, and I don't know how many of the many have been notified. And I own 2 properties on the square. So just want to let you know that I think we need to have a voice as well. That's all I have. Any questions for me? Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? There being, yes. You state your name and give your address.
My name is Tyler Mills. I am a property owner, and I'm also a business person. I own Lou's Corner in the square. It's owned jointly with my father, John Mills. And I just wanted to sort of state that not all property owners are against it. I think the biggest thing that everybody's trying to come together with, and maybe things have not been jointly worked together, committees have not worked together as much as they should have. But that I think everybody's sort of really not for the moving of the farmers market away from the square area, whether it stays adjacent, moves to the square, or some type of proposal halfway in between. Because it is part of downtown, and it's part of why people come downtown. And they come downtown to get their produce, to have lunch, to stop by a store, to say hello, to see friends. And if it moves, even though in the vicinity, down to the square, it no longer becomes a visible aspect of coming downtown as part of the community that we're striving to create and build upon. And unfortunately, we don't want to give up parking. Nobody does. I don't. But if we don't figure out some way to work together to sort of increase the whole visual aspect of coming downtown and making it part of the community, then businesses are going to suffer.